Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the
Most people tuning in late thought it was a live broadcast.
Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars.
Millions of radio listeners believed that a real Martian invasion was underway. Panic broke out all across the country. Terrified civilians jammed the highways seeking to escape the aliens. People begged police officers for gas masks to protect them from the toxic gas. They told electric companies to turn off their power so the Martians wouldn't see their lights. One woman ran into a church service and yelled, "New York has been destroyed! It's the end of the world! Go home and prepare to die!" It was unintentional, utter chaos. When news of the real-life panic leaked into the CBS studio, Orson Welles himself went on the air to remind people that it was just fiction.
This is Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen, out of character, to assure you that the War of the Worlds has no further significance than as the holiday offering it was intended to be. You will be relieved, I hope, to learn that we didn't mean it, and that both institutions are still open for business.
Although no laws were broken, the networks agreed to be more cautious in their programming in the future. Orson Welles feared that the controversy from War of the Worlds would ruin his career. Instead, it helped him land a big Hollywood studio contract. And in 1941, he wrote, directed, produced, and starred in Citizen Kane, which many have called the greatest American film ever made. And that is what happened on this date in kid history. Until next time, folks, I'm Mystery, and
to this event. This terrifying broadcast comes over. It turns out it's all fake. But what broadcast or what hashtag would you give to this event? If there was social media back then, right? You guys post about it. You're like, wow, that was wild. What hashtag would we provide? Hashtag cool, Lisa. Hashtag confused. Yeah. Hashtag panic. Hashtag end of the world. Hashtag aliens are coming. Hashtag those scientists were right? Like all of those things would definitely be valuable. Yeah. So pretty crazy, right? And that's the mishap of radio, gets us tripped up a little bit. So many writers and artists of the time received some support from the New Deal program, which we learned about last time. And so that's why like these forms of entertainment were able to continue. Otherwise, a lot of writers would probably be laid off, or a lot of writing strikes would happen, which we're seeing today. So not only was radio a hit, but also the movies were a hit. And so the movies start to become this escape from reality for a lot of Americans. So this was an affordable form of entertainment and often gave Americans a chance to escape, again, those hard realities that they were living through. During the Great Depression era, a lot of the movies were like comedies, they were horror, maybe romance, gangster movies, those really evolved. And they also were, I was going to say something. Oh yeah, a lot of them in the origin of creating movies, a lot of them were just non-verbal, so they didn't have any sound, right? Maybe they had music in the background, but they didn't have any speaking. So you would just go and kind of watch. You guys have seen like clips of silent movies. You would just go and watch. Once they evolved to have speaking, they were then called talkies, because people were talking in them. So pretty cool to kind of see. Frankenstein, we're going to watch clips from all of these, which is what I love about this lesson. Frankenstein was a very, very prominent science-based movie of the time. We know what Frankenstein is, right? This man that was created comes to life and kind of creates havoc around the world. So Frankenstein was the first full-length movie with sound, and it was released in 1931. It focused on Dr. Frankenstein and his monster. It was a commercial success. I mean, we still talk about Frankenstein today. I had to read Frankenstein when I was in high school still. And it was a horror movie icon. Like when you think of horror movies, this is an OG, right? The originals, Frankenstein. Frankenstein was, again, one of those really, really famous and very prominent horror stories of the time. Another one, which has had several remakes since, is King Kong. So you might have seen modern versions of King Kong, but King Kong was released in 1933, the OG one. And the film crew discovers the eighth wonder of the world and brings him back to New York City. That's the plot. Like King Kong, this massive gorilla, is brought to New York City. He's considered the eighth wonder of the world. And it's a horror film about how he escapes and terrorizes New York City. And again, there's multiple re-releases. So I remember watching the one recently with, oh, what's his name? Jack Black. I don't know if that's his actual name or if that was his name in School of Rock, but he is part of it. And I remember watching that new rendition when I was in like high school. So let's go ahead and watch this clip.